it's just so special for our club, mate, our club.
Lastly, after 57 years of pain, it's coming home.
Hey there, TJ here, and welcome to Yeahthedees, where I'm going through the VFL 2022 Grand Final, which the KC Demons won. Yay! Back-to-back in a different sort of way this year. Unfortunately, not with the senior team, but going and getting a premiership with our reserves, our seconds, our whatever you want to call it, AFL-listed players that play with another team. Yeah, the KCDs got the job done against Southport, who also had a pretty fantastic season. So the Dees go and do a Essendon 2000, going through a whole season with only one loss. Yeah, it was a interesting game, especially weather-wise. It was torrential for a lot of it. But yeah, just a scrappy game of footy. If you're a footy purist and you just love the game, it was just one of those, just a hard slog. Teams going at it, and it was a bit even for the first sort of part, and then yeah, we just sort of kicked away a little bit as the game went. I didn't really feel like it was in too much doubt, even though the margin was less than 10 points for a lot of the first half. Yeah, Dees just got the job done, and yeah, very, very happy to end the VFL season with this win. They were definitely the best side for the whole year in the VFL. Jakey Malcolm, as you can see here, ended up with 4 goals. Most of them were in the later end of the game. Hit the first goal of the game, and yeah, three in the last quarter to really help put it away. He let an absolute ripper go from 50. It was fantastic, and yeah, it was when that goal went through. It's like, yep, cool, we got this. It's just done. Southport had their best run in the first quarter. They kicked 3 goals in a row here after Melksham was able to kick the first one. Jacob Townsend, who you might recognise his name, he's a premiership player with Richmond. Not sure why he's not on a list. He's a fantastic player. Yeah, he was one of the best for Southport in this game. Taj got our second goal in the first quarter, so it went, yeah, 1 goal for us, 3 goals in a row to them, 1 goal to us for it to, go down 2-2 to 3-3 in that first quarter. Second quarter, we were able to just kick the only 2 goals of the quarter in there with Toby Bedford and Mitch Brown. So we went into halftime with a 6-point lead. Held them to only the one goal from Jacob Townsend again. In that third quarter, Bailey Laurie had a pretty decent game and kicked an absolute ripper there. And James Munro, who's one of the heart and soul of the KC Demons, got a ripping goal there as well. And then Southport got their only goal in the last quarter through Reece King through a free kick there. So yeah, ended up 10-10-70 to 5-8-38. We won by 32 points. Fairly comfortable victory in the end. Mitch White, former Demons listed player Mitch White, won the best on ground. He won the equivalent of the Norm Smith for the game. Luke Dunstan had a cracker. I thought James Munro would probably win the award, but yeah, went to Mitch White, who was also quite well deserving. Adam Tomlinson had a really good game in defence. He should definitely be looked at a bit more for the D's next year, especially if we're looking at possibly flinging Harrison Petty forward. Sam Wiedemann played a really, really good game in the ruck. He had 35 hitouts, so I could see him slotting into that dogger role that we're no longer going to have there. Jake Melksham was solid. Toby Bedford had heaps of it, running around with his pace. It was really, really exciting. Tajro Woden only had the 14 disposals, but did some really, really nice things around the ground, especially with running back. 2 of his, what have you got here, 4 marks? 2 of his 4 marks I remember seeing were running back to be the last person in defence, and then he would come back up the ground and create an option. So he's looking really, really good in that role. He looks like a really smart footballer, and he has grown throughout this VFL season to being a lot more comfortable playing against senior players. So I'm really excited to see him develop. Joel Smith had an okay game, didn't do anything too exciting. He was back in the back line for this one. He had been playing forward recently. Mitch Brown did some nice things as well, kicking 2 goals for the game. Jacob Van Rooyen had one of the better Yeah, Jacob Van Rooyen had one of the better games I've seen from a forward when not kicking a goal. A great example of that was Cozzy Pickett last year in the AFL Grand Final. But Jacob Van Rooyen was just getting plenty of the ball and creating lots of options, bringing other people into the game and doing some really nice things. Just a solid game, but yeah, pretty much in the Dees' hands for most of it. Southport had their chances in the first quarter, and then we made some defensive changes with who was lined up on who, and yeah, that basically stopped them out for the game. We kicked 10 goals 10 to 5 goals 8. We're got to 32 points up in the fourth quarter. Their biggest lead was 12 points 20 minutes into the first quarter, and the game was pretty even on tackles. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the VFL Grand Final. Very solid end to the year for the boys. Plenty of the AFL Demons were down there to help celebrate, and then they went off to the Brownlow medal afterwards. So Patrick Cripps ended up with the Brownlow medal, which is a bit of a surprise after he should have been bloody suspended for those last 2 games, and ended up taking home 3 votes in the last game where they did lose by a point. He was probably best on ground that game, but yeah, really shouldn't have been playing them anyway. So that, yeah, left Carlton with the Coleman medalist and the Brownlow medalist, and finishing 9th for the year, which is pretty interesting. Rob's Lockie Neal of his second Brownlow, you could say, but him getting a vote against us in that game is absolutely atrocious. He was nowhere near the ball in round 23. It was, yeah, he shouldn't have got a vote at all playing against us. Tuke Miller polled very well. Felt like the Clayton Oliver, Christian Petrarca votes were pretty accurate. 7 times they polled in the same game, which is pretty much a third of the season. They were either first or third best or second best or whatever in the same game, which is just phenomenal for how well they play with each other. But yeah, geez, we're just so blessed to have these 2 superstars playing for us at the same time. It's going to be hard for one of them to win a Brownlow playing with each other, but they play for flags, they don't play for Brownlows. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the Brownlow medal. Was it the best and fairest? I'm not too sure. Like, Patrick Cripps is definitely one of the best players I've ever seen. He's going to be 28 years old next year, and going into his 9th or 10th year without playing in finals. So hopefully that'll happen for him one day. He's almost ending up with like the Nathan Jones type, just being an absolute warrior for a club that everyone would have been happy to have, but yeah, just not making any finals appearances. Yeah, so let's get on to the AFLW. Now, the girls had their first loss since the grand final last year. Their first loss for the season this year against the Lions. It was a bit disappointing to watch. They started really well. They kicked the first 2 or 3 goals of the game. It was very similar to the St Kilda game last week, where we brought the right amount of pressure and effort to the contest, and we won the contest pretty easily in that first quarter and gave ourselves a lot more opportunity than the other side. And then after quarter time, they readjust, and then they bring the right pressure, and they were just better in the end. They got a bit more of a run on the ball. They were able to get the ball moving a bit better, and kicked more goals, and really kept us goalless in the second half, which was a bit disappointing. But it just wasn't our day that day. After getting the kick away. That's the first time Brisbane have beaten us in 5 or 6 attempts. We won the last 5. So bit sad to not be able to hold on to that dominance. But kicked 3 goals in the first quarter, 1 goal in the third, and just weren't able to kick goals in those other quarters, which is really disappointing. Lions just chipped away at it and had their 3-goal last quarter, where they had definitely all the momentum going that way, and we just couldn't get back into it. 2 first quarter goals to Kate Hall really helped set things up for us. We're missing a few players. Tyler Harris missed this game for whatever reason, I'm not quite sure. And just didn't quite get the result on Lily Mithen's 50th game, which is a little bit disappointing. But yeah, Tyler Hanks was quite good. Lauren Pearce also. Maddie Gay back after missing game last week. So yeah, they pull their socks up and go back at it again this week. So that's pretty much it for the reviews for the game. Not much news elsewhere to really talk about other than, Luke Jackson leaving. So, I'm not too fussed about that. You know, he's a young kid, wants to go home. It seems like his parents really, really want him there. I'm not buying any of the cozzy talk from Kane Corns. Kane Corns also always goes into bat for Port Adelaide and trying to push their agenda and making things happen. As we know, people in the media like to talk a lot of rubbish. As we've seen, Dyson Heppel re-signed for Essendon this week. Buddy Franklin re-signed for Essendon this week. Dustin Martin say that he's not going anywhere. And all three of these players were definitely leaving. They've been said by multiple people in the media that they're all leaving these clubs. And, you know, those journalists all got paid for the clicks on those articles, even though that they're all bullshit. The AFL media reminds me a lot of the wrestling media, the dirt sheets and the made-up storylines and things that happen off TV in that industry in America, and it's just absolutely crazy how these Muppets can get away with just lying straight out to people and just making up stories or posting rumours and lies and all that. It's just absolutely perplexing how they can keep getting away with that, and how they don't lose any credibility when they just put out rubbish all the time. Yeah, just absolutely strange. So there's some thoughts on the media there. Yeah, not too much to talk about. I'll just keep doing these videos as the AFLW season rolls through and do a quick review on each game and whatever news comes out for the Dees during the week. Once that season's all over and done, I've still got a few retrospective videos to do on our 2021 Premiership season, so I'll do those in the weeks that I don't have anything to talk about. So that's all I've pretty much got to say for this week's episode of Yeahthedees. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being on this journey so far. It's been exciting to try and put out content for the first time in my life like this. I don't, never tried video content for people, never tried commentating for anything. I don't consider myself a journalist. I just consider myself a really mad Dees fan that just loves the Dees and is just so excited that they won the flag last year and wanted to put something out into the world and the space. So here we are. Enjoy the last week of wearing reigning Premiers merch because, it's the last week. Well, we'll be the reigning Premiers, unfortunately. Geelong and Sydney playing this week in the Grand Final, and I don't know who I want to win. I guess Geelong kind of deserve a flag after, being so competitive and up the top for so many years. But I still hate them for 2011, and I absolutely hate Sydney. I hate Tom Papley so much. I hate Buddy Franklin for the player that he's become. He used to be such a superstar, and now he's just a cheat. And, if we could have a 0-0 draw, that would be great, wouldn't it? Anyway, thanks for watching Yeahthedees. See you next week. Bye.
And it's just so special for our club, mate, our club.
Lastly, after 57 years of pain, it's coming home.